Most modern schools operate like a conveyor belt, pouring data into students as if filling a jar. A true spiritual education seeks to rebuild the jar itself, reinforcing the student's internal character. In June 1985, Dr. Anupam Nagar stepped into the Sri Satya Sai Institute at Prashanti Nilayam. He was entering a highly regimented, deeply spiritual environment designed to facilitate that internal restructuring. But this training wasn't meant to keep him safely inside an ashram. He was preparing for a future assignment in a vastly different landscape, the remote, misty hills and unregimented frontier of Nagaland. The true metric of this training is its durability. The internal changes must hold up when the student is plunged into the chaos of the outside world. Life at the Institute operated on a strict, immersive rhythm. Days were anchored by the deep study of Sai literature and the collective, focused energy of evening bhajans, devotional songs, that grounded the student body. For hours each evening, students sat in the immediate physical presence of their teacher, Swami. This proximity during daily darshan provided a steady psychological center. The impact of this presence became clear to Anupam during a rare private interview. Swami offered direct counsel to his father, speaking with a familiar affection that instantly dissolved the older man's worldly anxieties. Watching his father walk out of that room completely at peace, Anupam saw firsthand that this guidance wasn't abstract philosophy. It produced immediate, visible shifts in human behavior. Repeating these routines built the foundation of an internal anchor, centering the student before they faced the world. The curriculum balanced prayer with intense physical conditioning. Anupam joined the Institute's gymnastics and karate groups. The dojo functioned as a laboratory of the soul. Through the repetition of martial arts forms and the physical strain of combat, students practiced the mechanics of humility. They learned to conquer their own impulses, rather than simply dominating an opponent. Swami illustrated this resilience with a simple parable. He compared the human soul to a football, constantly kicked and tossed by the chaotic winds of fate. The objective wasn't to avoid the kicks, but to endure the game with joy. After 5 years, Anupam graduated. Preparing for his new teaching post, he received a single definitive word of approval from his master: go. This combination of spiritual surrender and physical grit formed the moral framework Anupam took with him into his next chapter. Nagaland offered a stark contrast. Arriving at his new college, Anupam found a faculty deeply entrenched in a culture of heavy drinking, smoking, and casual indiscipline. For a new teacher, the social pressure to join in is immense. Sitting in usually means adopting the localized vices just to survive the workplace dynamics. Rather than lecturing his peers, Anupam relied on his training. He maintained his own strict routines, quietly refusing the alcohol and cigarettes, applying that internal discipline exactly as he had practiced it on the mat. He simply did his job. By refusing to compromise his own habits and refusing to judge theirs aloud, he created a contrasting point of reference in the middle of the chaos. Conviction proves itself in the execution. When you stand completely firm in your actions, you don't need to win a debate. Slowly, the environment began to shift. A colleague named Kashinath, noticing Anupam's steadiness, completely dropped his own smoking and drinking habits, eventually developing his own reverence for Swami's teachings. Another peer, Professor Sharma, elevated both his academic output and his personal conduct, directly influenced by observing Anupam's quiet focus. One person holding their ground creates a stabilizing wave. By refusing to bend to the existing culture, a morally anchored individual actually alters the behavioral gravity of the entire network around them. An education that only provides information leaves you vulnerable to the environment. An education that builds an internal compass ensures that when you step into a fractured world, you don't conform to it, you become the anchor that elevates it.